Well, ladies and gentlemen, here we are. We all knew that we'd be here eventually, I just didn't expect it to be so soon, but you guys surprised me with the subathon, so we did end up reaching the goal, and I will abide by my promises. Now, I did have a lovely discussion with the people over on the Anbennar Discord server, who helped me to decide which country would be thematically the most appropriate to form Castanor, and to also give me a couple of tips on how to finish that mission tree before the end of the game. Will we be able to do that? No, but I'd at least like to give it a shot. If you're wondering, the contenders we had in mind were either the New Wanderers, Heterata, a few others that were a little further down on the leaderboard, and finally the one that won out, Count's League. A long time ago in Escann, Castanor was the greatest empire of humanity. It is basically the Roman Empire of Anbennar. I'm sure in the 21st century of the Anbennar timeline, there are probably humans on the Anbennar internet posting about Castanor even to that time. So it is difficult to summarize the entire history of Castanor and just how important it is to the playthrough, since we're going to be reviving Castanor, but we do get a pretty good idea here. So, a few thousand years ago, Castanor was just kinda chillin', then eventually had enough, internal strife, civil war, broke apart a little bit, just enough for Castan Ebonfrost to reunify the empire and found Black Castanor. Fun fact, you can actually do that if you play as Urviksten, which is these guys over here. And then the 52nd Castan, which is the name for, I guess, king or emperor, was made a puppet by the Sorcerer King Nishmer. Sorcerer Kings or Witch Kings are very infamous, very powerful mages who rule entire countries and or continents. Usually what makes them so infamous is that they tend to dabble in a little bit of necromancy and have undead armies. Fun fact, you can do that too in this mod. Castanor was saved by the arrival of the elves, who had to flee from the magical disaster that happened 1,444 years ago. Just to give you a little bit of context about how long ago we're talking. The Sorcerer King dies, Castanor fractures for like 1,000 years, and then just 20 years ago, the Green Tide happens. That's when millions of orcs, united by a Corgus Ducanson, rushed out of the Serpent Spine, which is a giant mountain range to our east, former home to the Dwarven Empire. The orcs burned and pillaged everything they could get their hands on in Escann, until a girl by the name of Corin was killed in battle, then revived as an avatar of the fallen god Agrados. Afterwards, literally the day before we start the campaign, she kills Ducanson, but unfortunately dying in the process. All of this stuff is pretty important. There will be callbacks to this stuff that we just read here throughout the mission tree and our journey, starting as Count's League. For the first time ever in one of my Anbennar videos, I will not turn on Great Conquerors, because even in the best outcome, it still delays the outcome of the mission tree. And we have our first event, which we might as well give a read. As the sun entered its descent, Carleon Black Tower continued to trot around his recently attained estate. Its palatial nature would have allowed many to be distracted, the previous bickering owners for one. Those who had all but destroyed the last hope of Castellyr with petty disputes even as the kingdom lay in ruin. But for him, the air of the place tasted strange in his lungs and prevented finding such peace here. The deal that they had made to keep this place weighed on him. Truth of why they had always been so patient, hiding in this sanctuary amid the ruins of what had been all of their homes. He remembered the flight across from Ebonmarck, all the members lost along the way as they fought to join the nascent beginnings of this resistance where the minor nobility had gathered after the major died first. Carleon looked back to a time when his only worries were the sordid history of his forebears, the disrespect of chivalric Escann, when he could breathe and smell the apples they grew back home. A place all but unknown to his daughter Callista, somewhere he might never see again if he failed in leading the people of their redoubt. Larian had saved him, his constant bulwark. She kept them from joining the ranks of the Sour and Dour among those who had survived the Green Tide, only in that they remained breathing with all that made someone alive drained by harrowing experience. Larian and Callista kept them from feeling that same pull. The arrival of Corin's circle had revitalized his friends, more so when he came to them with the plan to remove the incompetent and scared prior hegemon of the League. Rescuing Lothane had been a welcome bonus, Carleon taking a liking to the half-orc, finding in Lothane's normalcy hope for all their future. The messenger pigeon had come with the news of the previous day. Its contents, why he had taken time to consider consider by his lonesome. A newcomer to the court she would be, but like the Silver Dragon, she had not stayed long. She had redeemed Agrados, of all beings. There'd be hope yet for those inheriting a loathsome pact. He wheeled about and cantered home. He still lived and still had a beautiful daughter. Old he might be, he'd see Castellyr restored in full yet. We will get another event in a year, and Carleon is our current leader. He is a 245 strict leader, 53 years old, and supposedly he has the strength to live coming from his will to restore Castellyr for the sake of his wife and daughter. That means that as long as we don't make him into a general, he's not going to randomly die. How long does he have left to live? Who knows? We are the remnants of the Castellyrian kingdom in the north. When the Green Tide happened, a bunch of the minor counts in eastern Castellyr moved to Oldhaven, and as we can see from the description of this idea, made a pact with the hags that had inhabited the region for quite some time. So for the past 20 or so years, we've been using their help to make sure that the orcs can't even find where we are, which puts us in a pretty unique situation in Escann because most of the polities here are adventurers or hordes. Meanwhile, we and Marhold are the only two remaining actual kingdoms. It goes without saying, but we are of course humans, which means that we do have our own little special things. They aren't that special though. We just get all power cost reduction and culture conversion cost, which is very powerful but not all too special when you compare it to the kinds of buffs and nerfs that other species get. As for the military, we just get 5% morale. As for our religion, we are Regent Court, probably one that you're very familiar with if you have played any Anbennar at all. But for the sake of being thorough, the Regent Court is a pantheon of many different gods. Some of them are elves, some of them gnomes, some of them dwarves, and many of them are humans. That makes it a very tolerant religion, which is why we get our +2 tolerance of heathens. It also allows us to prioritize a deity, which we are not going to do to start off, because our first mission requires that we follow Corin, who will herself end up being deified very soon, and we need to colonize a province. So we're going to go ahead and grab native repression policy for the +20 global settler increase, almost doubles the amount that we get, and then we'll throw down this colony. As for the estates, now normally I would take all of our points, but because we're not really going to be annexing anybody or getting a lot of crown land from wars, I'm only going to take the military and the Diplo power for now. That will seize land and figure out everything else. Apparently it was the 11th, not the 10th, that she managed to slay Corgus Ducanson, but lose her life in the process. The next 50 years we get yearly tax income, which is 2 ducats per month, plus 20% settler chance increase. We have the 10th Pantheonic Council, which has basically decided that Orin has redeemed Agrados' failures. We don't have to get into Agrados, don't worry. But basically that she should take his place as the deity of war in the Regent Court. So either way, she becomes unlocked as a patron deity for every follower of the Regent Court, and we will of course adopt her as our deity. However, we are first going to boost stability up by 1, and then we'll do that because we get our free second one. This allows us to finish 2 missions, starting with this one. The old leadership was more interested in hiding away from the Green Tide, and so after the coup that took place just before the start of our campaign, we've decided instead we're going to start reclaiming this area. So we lose 1,000 manpower and 25 crowns, but for the next 10 years we get 50 local settler increase and half cost colonies. Compared to the other houses, Black Tower was not really that important. In fact, our current leader used to be called Carleon the Inadequate for his lack of magical talent, yet here he stands, the leader of this small fledgling reclaimer nation, and his story will mark the beginning of a new legacy for the house. 20 years we gain legitimacy, although that's not really that impactful, and the heir gains a Diplo and mill point. It seems that the deal we struck with the hags is starting to cause a little bit of an issue, mostly in the form of people suddenly disappearing overnight, and although this is the pact that we made, we're going to have to do something about it. We've capped out our relations with Corintar, which allows us to finish this mission. The guy in charge of Corintar is actually a half-orc, and before the coup that we had was also held in a tower prison over here, but after the coup he was released and sent back to the adventurer band, which is of course what allowed them to help Corin beat Ducanson. So we become mutual historical friends and we get 20 trust. I've gathered enough favors with our 2 allies, Marhold and Corintar, that they will help me in my conquest against Dog Eater. They are an orcish clan with apparently an idiot for leader, but they are allied to Clouded Eye, which means that it wouldn't be easy for me to handle on my own, thus the allies. That is really not a great event to get right now, because I can't just press the bottom button. Although, there is a chance I can wait 6 months and then take the bottom option. We'll see. Oh yeah, that's a great start. What is that, for 1 year having less tax, less manpower? That's fine, actually. Okay, tragically, no, we just had to spend all the money. It's a really good start. What is that, like 7 loans? Nice. That's really cool. Okay, now I'm gonna go out on a limb, and I'm gonna make a little bit of a guess about this upcoming mission that I have to do. I'm gonna go ahead and actually vassalize Clouded Eye. Gonna take all that money, of course. I'm also gonna make a really bad decision by moving a colonist over here very briefly, which does give me the coring range for this other province that they have. Gonna take money and, in theory, war reps. I guess they're just gonna like move around, probably. Never mind, they disappear. Perfect. Marhold, after doing absolutely nothing in that war, decides to rival me. Very cool. Thank you. Gonna dev this up to 2 to make these guys a little bit happier. Now we can summon the Diets, do whatever makes these guys happy. And also take a little bit of land back. We're gonna use that so that we can actually make the adventurers completely loyal by giving them generous quest rewards. We actually don't need this colony anymore. We'll just get rid of it. We've defeated the Dog Eater clan, but there aren't very many Castellyrians left who can help us wield arms, especially when we must also allocate human and material resources to the repopulation of our lands. So we must take drastic action. Clearly we don't have enough people to fully restore the old economy, so we're just gonna have to use the orcs to help till the fields. Hard to think of a less convenient time for you to do this. Were you at war with these guys? Do you have other allies? Just me? Really? Sure, fine. Okay, so to finish off another mission, we're going to have to develop Nathwood to 10 development. Pretty simple. As you can kind of see, we have been mostly expanding along the walls on the map here. First of all, really cool that they made 3D models for this, but also if we reclaim all of the walls, then that kind of gives us a better claim to all the stuff in the center that doesn't have a wall near it. At least that's the idea. So we get an additional colonist for 30 years, as well as a free start on this province over here. For our second colonist, we can just send them right here, because fortunately there is nobody here to fight us. I'll briefly send a colonist over here just so I can actually turn that into a state core, then we'll get rid of it. I've been gathering a few allies and currying some favors to make sure they can help me in my subjugation of Bladebreaker. Okay, we can piece out these guys over here. Our ally is kinda cooked. It is what it is. I don't actually need to subjugate you yet. Just need money and war reps from you. I think for this reform, we're going to ask the nobility for more taxes. Okay, war is finally done. That took 3 years. I'm gonna ask for subjugation, of course. Gonna have a slight coalition. Doesn't really matter. It's literally 2 countries. Gonna ask for that money, see what I can get out of it. Really not that much, but oh well. Of course, that means we can hand out our Strong Duchies privilege, and I'm also going to actually sell some titles and take some land back, and that's because we need to build a castle. Doesn't matter where, just needs to be somewhere along the walls of Castanor, just like all of our provinces. In terms of positioning, I think it's best to build the castle here, so we're just going to take out 1 more loan and get started on that. We'll take this, of course. Okay, now you guys know that in most of my playthroughs, most of my videos, I just kind of let this happen. But in this case, it's like really lore important that she stays alive, since it's stated that it's like one of the only reasons that Carleon decides to continue living. So we're just gonna roll back on that one a little. Ooh, what do we have here? Former inhabitants return home. Very nice. We gain 6 development, a little bit of reduced unrest. The religion in a few provinces changes. That's nice. Having completed that second fort, we can finish off this mission. Upon reclaiming the land, we found the white walls to be unguarded and the wardens nowhere to be found. Nonetheless, with our steady resurgence in power, we can begin to garrison the walls once again. So it says in Oldhaven that we get 2 workshops, which doesn't make any sense since, you know, we do have to build 2 of the 2 castles. I imagine it's supposed to put a workshop in both, which does appear to be the case, which is good. Glad that's not bugged. Here's a new problem. For the last 2 weeks, everyone in the country has been getting barely any rest because during the night they hear screeching and cackling. It's obvious these are the consequences of our pact with the hags in Oldhaven, and despite the nightly disturbances, at the very least it doesn't seem like they're doing that much trouble, but it is a little bit worrying that it spreads across the whole country, not just the province of Oldhaven. But surely this isn't a problem. More inhabitants return home, very nice. A bunch of production, manpower, some tax. Let's quickly see some land back before we go to war, because we do need to fight Flung Head in about a month actually. Shouldn't be a very difficult war. After all, they have Tech 3 and I have Tech 5. Even if they do have a war wizard, probably not a big deal. Wow, that was easy. I expected at least like some kind of a difficult fight, because I have literally 0 shock on this guy, and they had 10. So I expected at least, you know, something. I guess that was too much to expect. Could be a bit of a tough fight, actually, because they do have a bunch of shock, but actually, no, that was really easy. I kind of thought you were stronger than that. Okay, well, I'm gonna ask for war reps, full money from you, just a bunch of prestige, I guess. They did fully surrender, but very quickly, I'm just gonna loot this province. It is free money. Then we'll take everything. Went ahead and hired a Diplo advisor and improved relations guy, because that would be kind of helpful for some of our missions, including this one. We're very grateful to the adventurers that came to help us stop the Green Tide. On the other hand, they haven't left yet, and it seems they have no plans to do so. We consider this to be fine for the most part, but we are going to have to demand their fealty. So for the next 30 years, we gain an additional diplomat and +2 diplomatic relations. To enforce this fealty, we're going to need to improve relations and trust, or for the countries it's not possible to do that with, we are going to have to insult them. What do you want exactly? Corentar, ally, declare war on Bloodgorger? That's actually kind of fine. We will pick up the text, even though I would have preferred to get the institution first. It is a little bit expensive, but at the very least, we do get some innovativeness, so that's something, I guess. Plus, Tech 6 is kind of important. That was a fast war, okay. Why do I get 25 of these ducats? I siege the capital in like all the provinces, but okay. Interesting move there. Okay, cool. In Ardent Keep, we're also going to go for a marketplace just because it's one of the only other buildings I can make right now. We'll also deal with the separatists because I can't be bothered to wait for them. Ooh, champion of the joust. I would love a really good general. Hopefully we aren't disappointed. Okay, passable, I guess. It's interesting that Pioneers Guild is going after Bloodgorger. I think I'm just going to let them finish what they're doing here. Should be a very quick war. Maybe they'll fully annex them. I don't know. It might make my life a little bit easier. A crown land kind of sucks, but it's not that big of a deal. I've had people in the past be like, no, the crown land, it's too bad. The autonomy is going to go up. And then I look at the autonomy and it's like at 10%, 25% at most in one province. Really not that much, because being at peace counters that completely. But anyway, you know, you get more money the less crown land you have. I don't know if you knew that, but yeah. So because we have 17, we get more money than if we had like 27%. And it's noticeable too. Anyway, we finished building our second building in the capital. Not the capital, soon to be capital. We're going to throw in an encourage development edict. I'm not going to wait for prosperity. I can't be bothered. And actually, I am going to exploit development. We're going to throw in 2 more developments. We're going to turn this into a level 2 center of trade, make it a little cheaper to develop, and we'll throw in just enough points to get to 15 development, expand infrastructure, and then make that 16 development. That finishes off this mission. Ardent Keep is suitable to build a new capital, being far from the cursed land of Oldhaven. Well, not that far, really. We lose 100 Diplo power, it becomes the new capital, and it has a chance of producing either cloth, glass, or paper, which are all better than the livestock that it is currently creating. And we get glass, not too bad, because I think that gives us a chance to get faceting. Now, for that to happen, we are going to need more prestige, and we are going to need to embrace the Renaissance, I believe, for that to actually happen. But seeing as the price of glass has not increased, I think that we do have that chance still. Oh, and you know what? At this point, I just realized I don't think we need to have Corin as the deity anymore. Also, not sure what an aligned personality is. Anyway, we might go with Castellos for the monthly admin power because it is the best one until it disappears. And spoiler alert, it does disappear. Oh, right, I can't forget. I do need to give out religious state at some point. Okay, I'll try to remember that next time. For us to finish this mission, all we have to do is, I think, insult you. Is it regular or scornful? It just says insulted. Okay, we'll insult you, and then we will insult you as well. That should do it. The mission says we must turn our thoughts and prayers to action and restore the realm that Castellos' avatar gave his life to protect. Not sure who Castellos' avatar is. That could be the first cast Escann, actually. Maybe. Anyway, we get war goals to vassalize the nations we have insulted, and our allies will get events to willingly become our vassals, which will cost us admin power. All of our allies in this region have 200 opinion of us and at least 60 trust. I'm hoping they accept. I actually don't know if they have the choice to not accept. We'll see. Okay, it looks like everyone has accepted. Perfect. Now, they aren't exactly loyal subjects. After all, they are quite sizable. I expect that they will probably downsize their armies a little bit, maybe. We've expanded our dominion, especially within the White Walls. More or less, we have a bunch of subjects. It's not everyone, but close enough. The dream of Castellyr is that of the feudal continuation of the power of antiquity that was Castanor, and we have kept it alive and well. Just as we survive, the center holds. In 10 days, we get an event cementing the silver banner. We find more people flying the old white dragon flag as they feel more reassured of the kingdom's continued survival. And of course, we're going to have to put that banner up in the halls of all our subjects as well. We get 20 years of Diplo annexation cost reduction. That could be a problem, actually. I kind of, for some reason, thought that it would just annex these new subjects. Maybe I was being a little too hopeful, because yeah, the subjects have a lot of army power and they don't like me because of it. Really not great to have all of our subjects be very disloyal, right as we get them as well. Fortunately, for the time being, we can actually alleviate that issue a little bit. We're going to keep on hiring mercenary companies. It's not like we have professionalism anyway. And I think some of these are still technically cheaper than regular units. Not for long, but a little bit. Okay, this might have actually had a secondary effect. So because we have a bunch of the adventuring companies, I presume this is because we have them as subjects now. It seems that the problems people were experiencing from the extent of the Hag's power has diminished a little bit. People feel safer with the adventurers now solving many of the issues in the area, and so there are fewer disappearances. Things seem to be doing generally a little bit better. To finish off this mission, we just had to put an infantry unit in each of these provinces. The Nath River seems very important. I presume it's this very large one in the south here. Provides security, power projection, logistics, supplies, all that stuff. As a reward, all those provinces will become Castellyrian and Regent Court, and if they were already, then we instead gain manpower development. I think most of them actually are Castellyrian. That's nice. I don't think I've ever seen this event, and I can't tell if it's like a base EU4 event. I mean, it has to be, right? There's like no flavor text here. Thanks. I mean, it's free stability. Cool, I guess. Gave Bladebreaker a little gift just to get him to above 50 opinions so I can finish off this mission. Although I don't think it'll be that useful considering how bad the Liberty Desire is, but we'll see. The orcs came to Escann driven by Corgus Ducanson to destroy chivalric Escann as we knew it. The orcs clearly led campaigns with the intent that only orcs would remain, with all the others enslaved or put to flight. Now, we are reminded by the existence of Lothane Bluetusk and other half-orcs that the orcs are not inherently evil, but they have to atone for what they've done. Both of our orc subjects lose 20% Liberty Desire, and we get an event. I suppose actually they get an event in 10 days, which I think improved their relations with us, maybe? Oh, wait a second. They changed their religion. Yeah, that would definitely do it. That's pretty useful. The only thing is, again, it's not really that helpful because the Liberty Desire is just really bad right now. I think we can fix it. It's gonna be annoying for a bit. I have been advised though, if I want to do a good Castanor run, I'm going to want to consolidate Escann by like 1500, which seems insane to me. I don't think I'll be able to do all that, but we do need to continue going to war. Age of Monsters, what do I want for this? You know, normally I would just say, obviously, higher developed colonies, right? We do need to colonize things. On the other hand, rapid consolidation, kind of going to need justified wars, right? Although I can probably get that pretty easily by the time I actually need to start conquering. After all, I did only recently gain this, and we will be embracing the Renaissance and hopefully controlling centers of trade. So maybe we can go with higher developed colonies. Oh, you know what? Wait a second. Why do you like me? Oh, because I got an event that's like improve the quality of exports. I didn't actually like read the event. Turns out that actually is kind of useful. Now we are at a war together, giving us the plus 25, but I might be able to use that actually. Okay, we're going to ask for full money, both their provinces, war reps as well in theory, at least that gives us prestige. I fully expect they'll just move, or maybe not. Okay, never mind. Okay, this time instead of selling titles, I'm going to give the clergy our point privilege, and then I'm going to take some land back. Again, we do just kind of need to keep on expanding. For a few reasons, I do desperately need to become a great power, because that gives me the great power interactions, which means I can get an additional 25 opinion with any subject. Going to be super important because I need to annex both of the orc subjects at the same time, I think. So we're just going to invade these guys in the south. Actually, you know what? I might call you into this war. Forgot my subjects are disloyal, so they're not going to help me. There's not really too much we can do with any of these guys. I'll just go for money, war reps, a little bit of prestige maybe. Same thing with these guys. I really just need prestige and money for the most part. And then of course we will go with a, well, I would say full annexation, but we technically can't because we can't core this province, so we can't take it. We also can't use colonists. So I'll just ask for war reps, those two provinces, and some money. Okay, so I'm going to do a few things here. I'm going to bump up a little bit more development in the capital, maybe get this to like 30 dev. It's not quite at the Renaissance, but at least it's like close enough. Okay, we are the number 5 great power, in fact, and I'm going to use that to my advantage because I only need to have 140 opinion with these subjects to annex them. Oh, but I have loans to repay first. Seriously? I didn't think that that mechanic still worked like that. That might be an issue because I have a lot of loans. Shoot. Yeah, that's pretty bad actually. We do need to continue taking stuff, so I'm going to use my anti-monstrous conquest to deal with a blood gorger. Lucky for me, they don't have any allies. Now, I am losing prestige every year, so I think I'm going to preemptively spend a little bit of it, just to make sure that it doesn't decay too much. Clouded Eye and Bladebreaker are the most important countries to placate right now. You know what, if I have to repay these loans right now, either way, what I'm probably going to do is just take out a regular loan. These are the 1% ones. Maybe a second one, that's fine. And maybe, I mean, if they're 66 crowns, yeah, I'll pay them all back. The main point is that I'm going to ask the merchant guilds for the better loans again. This time they will be larger, so I can repay the smaller 4%. Oh boy, okay, this is something I was really not expecting to deal with right now. Okay, hold on. Wait. So first, there were no more disappearances. Sounds great, but actually it's not great because that means that the Hag of Oldhaven was in the endgame. And that seems to have taken the form of charmed mobs of people, those who were disappeared, being charmed with the masks that they were forced to wear. And this is actually quite serious. We can also see that the hag herself is conducting a dark ritual, and all of our hedge mages can feel it all across our land. This is actually really bad. We lose 100 legitimacy, lose 2 stability. We get a whole bunch of rebels, but we get a really nice general, a 3-5-4-5. They are the ruler, and wait, no, the only way he can die is through battle, so hopefully he doesn't. But most importantly is that if the charmed mobs take Oldhaven and keep it for a year, then it is literally game over. So let's deal with that, I guess. I have a sort of series of events I need to deal with first because I really wasn't anticipating this. So let's start with the first phase of the plan that I was going with, which is taking out yet another loan. And I'm going to hire another army, the Adventuring Company. I am very briefly going to abuse EU4's mechanics because I can keep this window open for a few months. And that's kind of important because you notice how it said like, oh, we're going to lose 100 legitimacy. That's kind of game ruining for me at the moment. There you go. That allows us to finish off this mission, where once we were on the brink, now we can see something approaching where we can claim the mantle of what was lost in full and not be laughed at as pretenders by the other Castanorian powers. I mean, sure, yes, but also, let's save those words of encouragement for a little bit later. We get a core on the entire southern white walls of Castanor province group. We lose 30 admin, and in 10 days we get an event. See, the reason I wanted to do that is because I wasn't sure how many cores I would get. I was kind of hoping it would include Castonath, but I guess it's fine that it doesn't. The main reason I didn't finish this war yet is because I figured like, well, maybe I can get like a core on this and that would be nice. But I don't, and that's fine. Kind of gaming the system a little bit with this, but I think what I can do is placate this guy. I'm going to ask for all their money.
war reps, break one of their rivalries, and remove one of their cores. That's because it gives me more prestige, which should be just enough prestige to put me at above 0. I guess we can rival Marhold. Sure. Well, maybe not yet. We'll deal with that in a second. We can, of course, core those up. And now that I have enough prestige, I can placate you. Then go to Blade Breaker and say, hey, you know these cores that I have here? I'm going to develop them slightly, and it doesn't matter because they're my cores. But when I do that, it decreases your liberty desire. And then, okay, you're still disloyal for like a month, but I will be able to royal marry you. There we go. That's the event that we got from that one mission. Seems our house has troubled history, to say the least. Our founder was an acolyte to Nishmer the Sorcerer King, but we have the opportunity to redefine our house's history moving forward. Kalista, our heir, who is, oh my god, she is like 57 though. Anyway, she gains an additional admin, and for the next 20 years, we get monthly reform progress modifier. Nice. Well, you know, I kind of did want to solve this before we have to deal with this whole issue, but I guess it's fine. At least I got the important thing out of the way, which was the legitimacy. And then we just need to go to, let's go to you. Don't have any cores in you. That's fine. I'm going to drop a little bit of production into this gold mine. And then if we wait a day, you're no longer disloyal. No longer disloyal. Perfect. Royal marry you. We already have 0 legitimacy. It literally doesn't matter. It's very kind of the rebels to split themselves up like this. It makes my life a lot easier. Super easy win over here. Then we can just deal with these guys. And we have the Renaissance. That's nice. See, things aren't going terribly. They're just not going great. There we go. Easy enough to deal with. Well, that was actually incredibly easy, and apparently we get the legitimacy back anyway. Against all odds, we beat back the crisis. Let's be honest, it was not that bad. Well, we get our 2 stability back. We get our full legitimacy and 200 splendor. We lose cursed land from Oldhaven, and our national idea about having a deal with the hags will be replaced with new localization, reflecting us throwing off their vile influence. Nice. Oh yeah, I forgot to actually use Carlian Black Tower. Well, that's fine. Oh, he just dies. I don't know why that's so funny. He's just, you get him as a general and he's really good, and then he fights the one battle and he's like, alright, I'm heading out. I mean, he's an 85-year-old man who went into battle. Well, he dies, which presumably makes us lose a stability, and then we gain a stability because, you know. Anyway, we have our new Countess, Kalista Black Tower. Funny enough, I think that removes our royal marriage, actually. But more importantly, you know what we get? We get to choose a new deity. And this is kind of important because we can stack, where is it? Minus 15% Diplo annexation cost. That's nice because we already have that minus 15% from that one mission reward. And then you know what else we get to have? The integration policy for another minus 5%. It does make the subjects a little bit upset, but that's okay. So for Bladebreaker, we can just annex them starting immediately pretty much. For Clouded Eye, we're going to have to send them a gift. 25 ducats should do it, but the main point is that we're going to need to start annexing both vassals at the same time. We'll annex you, and we will annex you simultaneously. It's great because our Diplo annex cost right now is minus 30%. We can get that to minus 35% with, where is it? The integration policy. Now the subjects aren't going to like this very much, right? They get a little disloyal, but that's okay because again, at least for these guys, we just drop one development. It's already a core, so it will be free to annex. And for these guys, I don't mind dumping an additional Diplo for the gold province, since we will probably want to develop it anyway. Let's not forget we do need to continue invading these guys. I guess I could call in the Order of the Iron Scepter. The Cobalt Company is getting cooked. Actually, these guys are not looking too hot. We'll call you in, actually. This is fine. Third reform, we will go with decentralized bureaucracy. I think later we'll swap it because I need to do a lot of culture converting in this run, but not yet. I do want to annex these guys relatively soon, so we'll come back later. I just don't want a super long truce, so I'll just take money in war reps. Nice, more military power. Again, we'll just ask for war reps, money. This time I will take just this one province. Just sort of happens to be there, but that's it. And then, of course, we'll take the rest of this stuff. Kind of expected at some point that I would get like, I don't know, cores on that. Do I? No, I don't think so. Okay, never mind. Oh, you know what I should have done? I should have like sold titles and then I feel dumb because I would have gotten a lot more money and crown land out of that. Well, that kind of sucks. Well, anyway, let's go ahead and take a loan out. I'm going to embrace the institution. That's not really gonna go anywhere anytime soon. And I am gonna start seizing land without selling titles. Because now that I think about it, I actually need to have like 40% crown land? Yeah, okay. Might as well sell it to all of my closest allies because they're going to get it soon anyway for free. Here we have the integration of our first subject, finally. We'll go ahead and state up all of that. So it's kind of weird. You have stuff in... I don't like that. Anyway. Right, well, there goes our previous count. Yeah, that's not great. Really not good when you're trying to, you know, unite Escann this quickly. Okay, well, we're gonna continue using our Diplo annexation cost. Kind of important. Can I annex you yet? Yes, which means that the modifier lasts until when? Till a couple of years. Okay, that's not too bad. And the other subjects are starting to like me, so we can start integrating them. It's just that I think every time you integrate a subject, your other subjects don't like it. Maybe not in this case, actually. There we go, integration of our other subjects. Go ahead and do that. See, the thing is, we actually could finish this mission right now. I just don't want to. It instantly converts all of our green orc culture provinces to Castellyrian. This is incredibly powerful. So I'm gonna wait on that because it's very easy to keep the requirements. You just need to not purge orcs. That's pretty simple, but we can at least read it for now. Basically, the idea is that we actually don't want to exterminate the orcs. We have no intentions to do that, nor do we have any intentions to expel them, but we just kind of need to like move them around and stuff. In theory, it's better for like long-term integration if we just break up the clans and move them around. Oh, looming disaster, of course. I wonder where that's from. Okay, wow, this is kind of bad actually. As you see, to solve that, we're gonna have to dump like a ton of military points into this. Like a lot of military points. We actually don't gain legitimacy each year because I have negative prestige. Right. Looks like I was right. We can go ahead and pick up another one of these. It will be justified wars. Although the funny thing is we literally can't declare war. Like I don't have diplomats. I'm annexing all my subjects. I figured it would be a good idea for us to pick up the next admin tech just because we're so far behind. It is causing unbalanced research. Now, for this run, because Castanor is such a long and arduous run to get through, I have predefined all of the idea groups that I'm going to take with the help of some very kind people in the Anbennar Discord who helped me figure out what the best way to complete the mission tree without playing until the year 1900 would be. So, to start off with, we are going to take espionage ideas. Having annexed 2 of our subjects, and soon the last one will also be annexed, we can now actually finish off another mission. Castonath is ours once more. The patricians who run the city did survive through various different means, and now we're basically going to have to negotiate with them for much of the rest of the game. In fact, they replaced the burghers' estate as their own, and apparently we need to keep the influence below 80, otherwise I guess they have too much power and corruption sets in. It's actually really good for us because we do need a lot more crown land. It's also not that great because it just wiped out a good amount of our governing capacity, which is not good. Let's see, what do you have? It seems they are quite different compared to the burghers. And see, I would like this monthly Diplo power, but for the time being, we can't spend any crown land. We can still take our debt out, which is good. In fact, it makes me wonder, okay, yeah, we still have these 1% loans, which is kind of funny. It means, actually, that I could take out more 1% loans, and I could pay off some of the 4% loans, which is nice. You know, I didn't think that expanding this much this early into the game would create an actual issue. In fact, I thought I was being really slow on the Escann consolidation. Apparently, you're supposed to do it by 1550, not 1500, so I really didn't have to do as much as I was doing here. And there we have the last subject. Now, I can't really afford to have an army this large, so I'm just gonna mostly get rid of it. Can't forget to swap back to Castellos while he's still available. Just hired some advisors to finish this mission off. Basically, Carleon is gone, rip, but we're gonna do good in his name, surely, probably. We get a tier 3 government reform trust of the future. It gives us a fixed dynasty, as well as +1 yearly legitimacy, monthly heir claim increase, and no stability loss on monarch death. That's perfect, considering I really want our current monarch to die. Now, it isn't great that we lose some of our bonuses from decentralized bureaucracy, but I think I can live with that. And of course, later in the game, I very well might change this anyway to centralized to get the culture conversion cost reduction. We can also pick up our second idea group, which is going to be admin ideas. Now, at this point, if we wanted to, we could form Castellyr. We're not going to because they do have a mission tree, but their mission tree is like ancient. Their mission tree is actually older than the Council League mission tree because this got a rework, I don't know, like a few updates ago. But Castellyr, that mission tree's been in there for years, which means if we form Castellyr right now, we will not be able to take this mission. It is an incredibly powerful mission, which I'm kind of holding off on first because I still want to invade these guys. I want to take as many green orc provinces as possible, so that includes like Deadfang. Since they have some more green orc provinces down here, then we invade these guys for their green orc provinces. And then in the end, this gives us very little that we actually have to culture convert. Finally, there's at least somebody we can rival. It's lonely here in the number 3 great power spot. Even Gawed doesn't count as a rival, but we are allied to them, so that might have kind of an impact. Speaking of being allied, hey buddy, do you want to give me money? Thanks, man. Also, what are green orcs doing? Leaving the deep woods. Hold on a second, buddy. That's illegal. You can't do that. Wouldn't you rather be killing some elves or something? Oh, what is this? Estill wants my help against who? Deadfang. Yeah, actually, we're gonna say no to that. We do get our next reform. Probably not going to worry about our unique one. It just lets us swap personal deities a little bit faster, every 5 years instead of every 10 years. It's more important for us right now to get religious unity and admin tech cost reduction. We're finally caught up on admin tech, which is really important, not only for the governing capacity, but because we can also pick up courthouses now. In fact, okay, we do have a lot of debt right now, but I'm gonna take out more debt because we kinda need to use it on courthouses. Like, it's really important, actually. The mages have like no power, so I can't even ask them for help. The buildings are just gonna be expensive. I am going to take some land back, though. What is this? You're going to war with Elikand? I mean, you're crushing them, so that's fine, actually, yeah. Like, they have literally 0 troops. I did get a tip from one of my spies that Bone Carver is planning to attack Wyvernheart, which kind of sucks, because I need to attack Wyvernheart, and I also just want to get rid of Bone Carver. So, we can call in Corintar, I think. They don't want anything from these guys, so what I'm gonna do is just make sure they don't change their minds mid-war. With Gawed, we just don't have trust, I guess. I think partway into the war, I could probably change that. Anyway, Anti-Monstrous Conquest, Orintar, and I think Deadfang. Yeah, we want a co-belligerent. Kinda sucks that the orc warbands are just physically faster than we are. Plus 20% movement speed. Kinda makes it annoying. I think the easiest way to deal with these guys isn't going to be through fighting, it's gonna be through sieging. Because orcs, I think, get, what is it, minus 20% fort defense. And we do have at least some siege ability. Or honestly, it might even be better, because I mean, look at them. They have like 1,000 people here. We might even just want to assault forts. So we can get these guys out pretty easily. That's 12,000 troops we can just kick out of the war. So we can just go ahead and barrage and assault this capital fort. There we go. And look who's willing to join, the Cobalt Company. Sure. Unless you're trying to take stuff, and then I might say no to that, actually. What if I just tell you that I sort of want this stuff? Let's be honest, they're probably gonna get killed anyways. Well, they'll probably make a good distraction anyway. There goes Corintar. Not a big deal, really. Now, I actually did co-belligerent Deadfang, I think. Yeah, they're co-belligerent. Okay. So I can take a few of their provinces. I'm probably just going to take the stuff that is orc culture, and the other stuff I don't really care about, because that was the main point of invading this guy, is that I wanted the orc culture provinces just so I can, like, get them converted easily and out of the way. I will still take money, probably not war reps, because I don't think they have that much, or at least they won't after this war. I'm going to do a little bit of a weird decision here, where I'm going to actually try and corral the enemy units towards Cobalt Company. I'm hoping that they can siege them down, which would give me the opportunity to have them kicked out, which would allow me to actually take the stuff that I want. Because right now, wait, I can only take these provinces? Yo, what? Why are these so expensive? Oh, it's expensive for you to take something because you're an adventurer company, and it automatically assumes I want to give this to them, which I don't. Okay, well, the main point is that's even further point, to be honest. I need them to just kind of like fix this over here, so these guys can continue to siege this. It's fine, it has a lot of defensiveness. Just gonna gently nudge the enemy armies a little bit. I'm gonna let them win these battles, actually. Even though this is a show superiority war, that is kind of okay. Because as I said, they did serve as a good distraction. They even got me the capital, which is very nice of them, I appreciate that. Unfortunately, I kind of need those provinces. There is a line that I won't let them cross though, and that is that I kind of need you to not be on the capital. If you would be so inclined as to not be there, thank you. They can go ahead and siege this down. That would be nice. New rivalry, that actually makes sense. Okay, they've sieged down the province. Perfect. You guys take forever to do your job. Okay, that just leaves us with one final battle. May or may not give us enough superiority to swap the war score, but either way, we do need to finish this war. Oh, that's not fair. Retreat into a province that I can't access? Hold on a second. I don't think so. It's really funny that they have like no people to fight with, but because of the way I've been fighting this war, they still have the war goal for show superiority. I don't even know if I can do anything about that. I might just have to wait for them to surrender. This is so aggravating. I have literally chased this army around this circle twice now. Hold on, I'm done with this. That's enough of that. Still don't actually have the war goal, which is funny. They have no army, by the way. They have been entirely defeated, fully occupied, no army, just one province left that's currently being sieged. But they won't surrender because they're like, guys, we won so many battles, guys. We did so well. There we go, they have surrendered. Now, I guess it's fine if we wait for this siege to finish, because 100 ducats is quite a bit of money. Just gotta clean up some rebels real quick. Okay, you are going to give me war reps and money and prestige. That's cool. Actually, I mean, if this stuff is free, I might as well. It is free prestige. Actually, yeah, I didn't even check if I could fully annex you. Which provinces do I need? Technically not that, but yes, this. I think that covers all the stuff that I actually want to take. Really just the orc provinces. The rest is fine. It is quite a bit of overextension though, so I might actually sit on that for a little bit. Alright, war exhaustion is going to get pretty bad if I don't decide to end this war right now. It is maybe a little bit too much overextension, but it should solve itself pretty soon. We can actually upgrade our rank to a kingdom, which is nice. Gives us a lot more governing capacity to work with. I can also go ahead and seize some land. I didn't realize that the mages were upset. That's fine. Current heir dies. Wow, yeah, that's exactly what I need right now, actually. The average heir to die while we have this really bad king in charge. Really neat. I spent the last several years dealing with all of the rebels that were spawning as a consequence of this war. And I've also been half-stating everything so I can get at least some money out of it, while we still can't really afford the admin to fully state everything, or really the governing capacity, to be honest. I think at this point I would also like to take the Golden Era. I think that would be a good idea early on. So I'm actually going to take out a few more loans. I know, the loan situation is not exactly great right now, but I will fix it at some point. That gives us our control over centers of trade, allowing us to start the Golden Era. Maybe I should have done that earlier, you know, right as I was courting a bunch of stuff, but anyway. We can summon the Diet. Let's see if we can take some more land back. Oh, that's perfect right now. We can go ahead and pay off some of our 1% loans. You have to pay off all of them, okay, because we did have 10 of them technically. No, that makes sense. Kind of weird that Venomtooth's being guaranteed by Arborin. I don't know why they're trying to guarantee some of the orcs. Seems kind of thematically weird. Not a big deal though. I'm just gonna call in Gawed. I really can't be bothered. I don't even care. I know at the very least Gawed doesn't want this stuff, so that doesn't matter. From Arborin, we are going to ask for full money and war reps. I think Gawed gets most of this, but that's fine. They honestly should have not even been in this war. For some reason, I'm allowed to take war reps from these guys. Might as well grab as much prestige as possible just because I don't like them. It doesn't actually do anything for me. I'm at 99% prestige. But with that, we now own every green orc province in Castanor, or Escann, I guess. Don't think there are any that we don't have. Most of the other guys here have already done like culture conversion and stuff. So now we can press this button. There we go. Everything has been completely culture converted. Nice. It should give a big boost to our economy. That actually leaves us with just one country that we are going to need to invade, and that is Wyvernheart. So we're going to call in Gawed again. I know for sure they're not going to want to take anything over here. They have no way of coring it, of course. But I might need their help with Grombar. It also unfortunately puts us at war with Newshire. And it's unfortunate because I've actually played these guys recently. Did a whole streamed campaign of their mission tree. It's rather long, actually. Newshire would be easy to annex in any one war, so I'm just going to take money, war reps, maybe break some alliances. Ooh, yeah, that works. This guy's now 53 and the queen is 48. Chances of having an heir are not great right now, so I will take that. Oh, that's interesting. I think I'll take the Diplo with a chance of additional admin. So, Grombar, we're gonna want... Actually, would it be possible to get a Humiliate? That would be nice. War Reps, Humiliate, and full money? That would be pretty great. That is perfect. Then we can just fully annex these guys, and we should be able to finish off the mission. Yeah, there we go. We don't even have to core it. Seems Ebonmarck is one of the previously owned estates of the Black Tower Dynasty, especially after the fall of Black Castanor. Although the area itself is nothing really that great. We do get a free core on the whole area, which is very nice, and an event in 10 days. Ebonmarck was disputed for centuries between Voronmarch and Castellyr, ultimately the land where the Black Towers lived for the past 4 centuries, and it was only with the Green Tide that we were sent packing. Even Carlian himself was raised in this area, and it seems actually that in the ruins, a distant member of the family reveals himself to us. A prodigal son with 534 stats. Absolutely no claim to rule the country, but he is pretty good. We get 20% local autonomy in the Ebonmarck area and 100 admin power gets lost. And you know what? I would totally accept this, because then I get the opportunity to also boost up another one of his stats. I think I'm going to actually go again with the Diplo plus a chance of admin. Just the Diplo this time, that's fine. Now, I was considering abdicating, but I think in this case I'm going to wait until the claim is a little bit better. It does go up by about 4 per year, and I'm kind of hoping to bring it to at least like 50 or something, just so I don't have to spend a whole bunch of mill power boosting it back up to avoid a civil war. That's the main part. Anyway, since we don't need to have a bunch of crown land anymore, we can finally sell some off, get a whole bunch of money, and seize some land back. You have no idea just how painful it has been for me to not be allowed to do that. So much money could have been made, so many loans could have been paid off. We have additionally finished off the last mission we have as Counts League. I suppose to become Castan, you would have had to pass a couple of trials at the province of Trial Mount, but I suppose for the past 4 centuries there hasn't been a Castan. So we're going to have to put in some effort to restore the North Citadel which lies there. We get an event for our reward. The Trial Mount is the mountain upon which the first Castan met the Way Guide and was guided to the revelation that led to the refugee Castanites founding the greatest human empire. It is the site of the trials that each undertook and added to in kind. Across the different eras, this empire survived with Escann as its imperial metropole. That was until the Garudians came in a time of weakness and the Ebon Frosts seized the empire for their own. Black Castanor being born and the trials that made one the next leader now put under guard to only allow Ebon Frost dynasts to attempt them. This bastardization would end with Castan the Enthralled and the final death of Nishmer on the Mount, the devastation so terrible that the trials were destroyed and marred. Castanor itself was rent asunder, its constituent parts split into the kingdoms of Cast and Anor along feudal lines instead of imperial ones. The idea seemed gone, but then they united into Castellyr, a continuation of Castanor's domain, finally reunited behind the White Walls. It was a beautiful dream, cut short by the horrors of the Green Tide before it had time to flourish in full when compared to those older realms of the Blade Marches, Adenica, and the Lost Realms besides those. But now Castellyr is back at hand, and perhaps in time, Castan's empire will be too. It is much to ponder on as the current state of the Trial Mount is taken in and then finally descended from. So as our reward, we get minus 10% province war score cost for the rest of the game. We also get an additional colonist for the next 50 years, which I guess is really not that important since we have practically colonized everything. But we are able to form Castellyr ahead of time without needing admin tech 7. We did, of course, delay the formation because it at the very least allowed us to culture convert many more provinces, saving us much hassle later on. But now that we have completed all of our missions, it seems reasonable to finally form Castellyr. or really to reform Castellyr. It gives us a couple of claims, not permanent, interestingly enough. We get new missions, 50 prestige, new traditions and ambitions, and of course our temporary increased centralization. I have to assume that these ideas are going to be better than Council League, although Castellyr has not been revisited for quite some time, so I'm not really too sure. Taking a quick look at them, yeah, you know what, they actually do seem to be quite a bit better. We used to have stuff like prestige from land battles and like cost to fabricate claims, which is not that great. But instead, now we get a significant reduction to fort maintenance, plus 2 diplomatic relations, 15% cav combat, 10% aggressive expansion. The legitimacy is alright, I guess. The thing is, we get so much legitimacy. Like, we really don't need all this. Minus 20% Diplo annex cost, very good. Minus 20% culture conversion cost, very necessary. Discipline, national unrest, development cost, and then yearly absolutism. So yeah, I'd say it's quite a bit better. You can see we do also have a couple new missions. Again, these are very old missions. They do seem rather useful. We get a lot of culture conversion missions. I figure we're probably going to be able to go through a lot of these. Anyway, that is where we're going to end off the first part of the Castanor playthrough. I felt it was appropriate having consolidated like half of Escann, forming Castellyr. I think it would make sense to have the next part be forming Castanor, and then we'll see what we do from there. Just as a quick rundown of where we are right now, we are the second greatest power. We do make the most income out of the countries that we are aware of. We're almost done with espionage ideas, and it's actually really nice when you consider that our aggressive expansion impact right now is minus 50%. That's going to be pretty useful. We're going through admin ideas to make it a little bit easier to fit all of Castanor under our belt, especially because apparently when you play Castellyr, you get like a disgusting amount of development for free. But anyway, thank you very much for watching. There isn't a like goal because this is a guaranteed series. This is a reward for the subathon that we had back in December. So don't worry about trying to reach a like goal, but I would really appreciate it if we could get this video to, I would like it to get to 4,000 likes because it is the first in this series. So if we could make that happen, I would definitely appreciate it. On top of that, we are looking to try and get to 75,000 subscribers by the end of the year. So if you aren't subscribed, or check to make sure you are still subscribed, I've been getting reports from some people that they have for some reason been forcefully unsubscribed. But anyway, make sure to go ahead and do that. For now, this is Corbett signing off, and as always, have a fantastic day. A big thank you to the patrons for this month. All of these people do receive early access for as low as $1, so I'd like to give a big thank you to those who decide to donate more than that, including Erica, Baby Cow, Born to Dunk, Luca Becker, Mikhail Sample, Nick Steffel, Q-Brute, A.G. Forero, Ben Mottram, Quiet Guy, Rosset, Torvald, Ambient Cyan, Elysia Tatze, James Levy, Luke78776, Stalin DLRP, White Rook, and Robert.